Hello and welcome back to the channel. What we have here is the Team Associated CR12. I love this crawler. I think it's excellent. In fact, I love it so much that I've bought it a gift. What I've done is I've bought it a hard body. It's a Toyota FJ45, and as matters stand, the wheelbase is slightly too short. But we can fix that. I think the simplest thing to do would be to cut off some of that generous rear overhang and insert it between the cab and the rear wheel arches. I think I'll make 3 cuts. I'll take the tailgate off, I'll go down here somewhere, and then I'll cut right behind the cab. With the cuts made, this is the situation. We've got this bulge here which is going to have to go. But if it does go, it's going to leave a little gap. There'll be no ribbed flooring between here and here. There'll be a little strip this wide missing. So I'm going to have to do some surgery to account for that. I've trimmed this piece so that we have this tongue sticking out, which fits in there like that. And we get a continuous floor. I've glued on these little tabs of ABS. With this bit stuck together, I can introduce the cab, the tailgate, and this bit to give you an idea of how it'll go. The end result should be that it will go back together the same overall length but with less overhang and a longer wheelbase. Before I go ahead and unite the two halves of the body, there's one little task I'm going to perform, and that is to Dremel out here, here and here, because it looks a lot more realistic with those areas removed. The effect of the dremeling is fairly crude, but now I can tidy it up with these tiny files. Next, I painted the white outer roof in rusty colours and then wet it and liberally doused it with salt. Once the water holding the salt in place had dried, with the salt stuck firmly to the surface, I gave it a quick spray with some off-white matte paint. Well, it's good to have the two halves of the body reunited. You can see here in the rear that I've had to drill some very big holes. That's to clear these flanges. Let's pop the body on and see how we're doing. This is how far we've got. Unfortunately, the front body posts aren't tall enough to touch the underside of the hood or bonnet, and the rear ones are far too tall. In order to solve that problem, I've begun to build a styrene box in the rear bed. This will have a top glued to it with just 2 neat 5.5mm holes for the body post to poke through, and then I'll just use a couple of R-clips. I'll have to make this box prettier, but I can put 2 R-clips through there and that's the back sorted. Now, to worry about how I'm going to retain the front. In order to secure the front of the body, I've glued a couple of very powerful magnets in such a position where they'll rest on the steel chassis rails. I'll just show you. With the back in place, I just lower the front into position and you'll hear and now I can lift the front. Now that I know how I'm going to hold the body onto the truck, I've gone ahead and masked the window glass both inside and out. The next thing to do is to paint this whole body in rusty colours. Now I can moisten the surface, sprinkle it with salt and then spray it with the top coat. Right, now the salt's dried on there, I can go ahead and spray the top coat. This is the colour I chose to paint it. I decided on this colour because it's very close indeed to one of the stock colours of the CR12 FJ45 lexan body. It's a couple of shades darker than the colour I chose for my MN45. I sprayed the interior and the dash the same colour as well. The truck looks better with the window masking removed, the white roof in place, the grille on and the turn signal indicators unmasked. I still need to install uprights here and here. And then it'll be a question of interior, dash and driver figure. Well, these uprights are in position and so are these. We also have Rick from The Walking Dead at the wheel. Well, most of him. His legs fell off while he was getting in. I also had to cut a chunk out of the floor of the interior to clear the ESC. But with all that done, this CR12 is ready to go. Let's just see how it does on my home crawler course. Well, I think that's worth taking out onto the trail.